Okay, we're on the air now, and welcome aboard to the J7409 Hangout, everybody. Glad to have everybody with us tonight. We should have an interesting show for you. Hope so. Think it's going to be a great show. Jnull0 will be our special guest speaker. He's not with us right at the moment. He's got some business he has to take care of and a few things he has to do like all of us. But he will be here, and he will be talking about different topics and answering questions we ask him. The guy's just a wonderful, all-around good guy. He can take nothing and make something out of it, make a beautiful clock out of a old knotty piece of wood, make knives. He can grow food, eat the food he grows, just anything about prepping. He doesn't call himself an actual prepper, but he takes care of himself, and that's what we all need to learn how to do if we don't know by now. So he will be with us momentarily, just a little bit later on in the show. Now, I want to thank everybody that subscribes to my channel. If you haven't subscribed to the What's Happening with Comet Ice and Facebook page or the J7409 news blog, I have a new channel. Go to it. Click on About. It will take you directly to these links. All you do is have to click on them and you can subscribe, and I would appreciate that a lot. Thanks a lot for doing that, and I want to thank everyone who has subscribed. Also, if you don't have yourself a J7409 t-shirt, Hangout t-shirt, be sure and get one because summer's coming and they wear so good. If you'd like to have a t-shirt, all you got to do is when you click on Show More underneath each of my videos, if you scroll down, you'll see what to do to get yourself a t-shirt. So don't forget about that, okay?
Oh, there it is.
They're a $20 donation, and that goes to help me live, go to school, buy books, whatever, things of that sort. So I appreciate that a lot.
And we make the t-shirts, and if you send $20 to Jay, you will get a t-shirt as a gift from us, as a thank you.
Which does include shipping.
Well, how about that? Yes. Well, I was going to tell everybody that, but thank you, Lon, for putting that in there for me. Okay. Yeah, Lon and Joyce has been really great about making these shirts, and I'm telling you, folks, they wear really, really good. Mine feels wonderful. They're nice and soft, and well, they're just good t-shirts. So if you want one, get one. Okay, now, Dawn, glad you're back with us now at the moment, and Dawn's doing something that is kind of different for Dawn here lately. I saw she's doing Dear Dawn on the air. Now, Dawn, trust me, folks, Dawn has no medical degree. She's not a professional psychologist by no means. But if you would like to, got something on your mind, she started a new little thing on her channel, and you just want to talk to somebody, more or less, write her a letter. Sign it whatever you want to sign it. Your YouTube name would never be used. Okay?
And it can't be anything too heavy.
And just because Dawn says something don't mean you have to do it. But then again, she might give you some good advice. It's just her opinions, okay? I thought that was kind of cute, and I wanted to give you a little plug there. And hi there, what's your name? I believe you're Mark. Hello? Hello, Mark. Well, Mark can't talk, but Mark's with us, I guess. All right, now, carrying right along here, a quick little segment on current events, guys. Boy, has this been a week or what for things happening in every kind of aspect all over the world. Of course, we had the big stuff happen in Boston, and you know, whether it's a false flag or whether it's not a false flag, I don't care how you look at it, it's a crying shame that people had to die, and so many people they're going to be maimed the rest of their life. I mean, there's no justice to it either way you look at it, in my opinion. If it's a false flag or if it's not a false flag, what's the point in maiming all those people? and that little 8-year-old kid that died, and his sister's leg had to be amputated, and his mother's brain got nails punched in her head, and she's never going to be right again. Look, that's one whole family that's just destroyed. For what? I hadn't done any story on that. You guys probably noticed. Why? Because there's a zillion people doing stories on it. Why should I do a story on it? You know? I don't do a story on everything that hits the air or every major thing that happens. I try to hit stuff that's a little different and off the wall and things everybody isn't talking about. But then we had a big earthquake in Japan, and then we had one in China. It wasn't quite as big. We had one in China, and then, bless that little guy's heart, he got in trouble for reporting it or predicting that it would happen. Now, is that one of the craziest things you ever heard of?
Yeah.
When it comes to Comet Ison, I had to make a video today when I saw what NASA put out.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how many of you guys got to see it, but they said everything I told you guys 2 months ago. Well, now NASA says it's going to happen.
Playing catch up. Yeah, they're playing catch up stuff we've known for months.
It's like, hey, viewers, thanks for being with us. It's like, you know, they kind of sugarcoat it and try to make it not sound quite as dramatic. And what gets me is I never said these things were going to happen. I said it looked like there was a possibility they could happen. Well, at the very end of that NASA video, if you listen to it real good, I don't remember the exact words, but what the whole gist of it is they really don't know what it's going to do. They're just trying to give you little stages and steps to look forward to things that are going to happen, that they want you to know about. And it's like they say something to the effect of, Comet Ison could still be full of surprises.
Translation, we don't know.
Well, you know, what did you say, Mary? I'm sorry, hon.
That means in NASA terms, we don't have a clue what's going to happen.
Well, I got a clue. Everything that I've put out months ago, they've come up in the last month, and about every 2 or 3 weeks, they'll say that what I've told you 2 months ago in the Hangouts have happened. Am I right, guys?
Yes.
So Mary hadn't been with us in a real Comet Ison hangout yet. That's when I get down. That's my area, Mary. that's my work. That's when I get down. But anyway, we are going to have another Comet Ison hangout. I'll let everybody know when we're going to have it, but I'm doing research now along with other people and I have like a Comet Ison team, and we're working at it from a lot of different aspects on a lot of different things. So, folks, we will have another Comet Ison hangout. So far as meteor showers, I told you guys 2 months ago we were going to have more. I told you guys a long time ago we were going through the tail of it. And I told you guys all this stuff that now NASA says. So, the next time I tell you, and when, like, the stuff hitting Earth.
Wave and say hello to everybody.
If I remember. Hey, Mr. Moving On, welcome aboard. If I remember correctly, I believe I told you in the very last Ison hangout we had that there was the possibility that we could have a lot of dust fall to the Earth. Now, they're saying it's going to be little itty-bitty stuff. Nobody's even going to notice it, but they don't know. It's too far away for me to know. It's too far away for them to know unless they're doing stuff. I mean, even if they're satellites, unless they had a rover up there and they knew what was going on, they wouldn't know, okay? They can't take a picture and know. So, when it gets a little closer, I'll tell you a little more, whether it'll be a little itty-bitty or whether it will blanket and possibly cause a nuclear winter where things will die, which I have talked about. Okay, enough of that stuff. So, Dawn, do you have any kind of thing you would like to interject in current events?
No.
Okay, Gloria?
Somebody coming in.
Gloria, do you have anything?
On what? For what?
Nope, not a thing.
Okay. You, Lon and Joyce, current events, do you have anything?
Yeah, well, one quick thing, just noticed, North Korea's leader, Kim Jong.
Yes, how could I forget Doble?
Bringing up the possibility of talks. If they lift some sanctions and things that I felt may have helped, instigate some of this problem. That's it.
Hey, John.
That was all.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, there's Jnull. Hey, buddy, welcome aboard. You made it before I thought you'd get here. Hold on, and we'll be over to you, okay? Mary, do you have anything you'd like to add to current events going on right now, hon?
No, just other than the fact that I think, the people of the United States right now, whatever may have caused it, whether it be false flag, there are innocent people there that were terrified and scared, and we as the United States people need to pour out our love and compassion onto these people. And they need prayers, That's all I have to say. Love and compassion all the way.
Well, yes, Gloria. Yes,
Yeah,
Gloria.
I did have one little thing that I wanted to add, and it's about the fertilizer plant explosion in Texas.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys get to see the footage that MR2 Tough 2 put out the very next morning, where the air itself is ignited before the explosion ever happened?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. No, I didn't get to see that this week.
Yeah, I shared it on the Google page, but you haven't seen it. But if you get the chance, you should watch it. It's amazing footage.
And
It's screen by screen, but the air is already ignited before the plant ever explodes.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow. Okay, all right. John, before we get to you, buddy, we've got one little thing we've got to do here right quick, and then we'll be over to you. But, Lon, you've got a little report on the planet Nibiru, right?
Yeah, I think I might have something. I don't claim to be the only one that may have ever thought of this, but I sometimes was wondering what the years would be, given that it's accepted that the Sumerian civilization came into existence, they say, somewhere between 4,500 and 4,000 BC. What the year alignments with Nibiru's return, given the accepted 3,600-year orbit, and I just happened to choose as base years our current year, 2013, and the year 4,500 BC, and with the 36 coming, it's a little weird with the BC and AD with negative and positive, but from 4,500 BC moving forward, the next time Nibiru should have been around Earth would have been 900 BC. Add another 3,600-year orbit to that. The next time it should show up here would be 2,700 AD. If you work it backwards from our current year, 2013, essentially minus 3,600-year orbit would be the year 1587 BC. Another negative 3,600 years, essentially moving back. It would have been around in 5187 BC.
The numbers just don't jive.
The point is, working it forward or backward, it really just does not jive chronologically with the accepted 3,600-year orbit or the beginning of the Sumerian civilization, at which time it's claimed the Anunnaki gave them all this knowledge and other things. And That's essentially not
Long
being
and the
any
short of it.
mathematician, you know. That's what it would look like to me. I got curious as just what years would Nibiru be coming around given the Sumerian era as a start date, and it just doesn't
It'd be
jive.
700 years from now.
Oh, 687
Yeah.
years yet to wait if it were to
If
show
it's
up.
real.
And also might raise the question that, you know, how could Nibiru or Planet X have approached, passed by, or now be obscured by the sun if it doesn't exist?
And if it has never done anything to create any kind
It
of
really-
disturbance on the earth.
My point is it can't do any of those things if it doesn't exist. And, you know, I like to keep an open mind, and I'm equally as entertained by, you know, the notion that there could be a planet that visits us every so often, and maybe the people are somewhat benevolent and teach us things that are useful to us. And in keeping an open mind on that, there's some that, like Nassim Harriman, that claim there are Earth-sized craft or Earth-sized or bigger craft that use our sun as a portal to other galaxies. And then there's the interesting captures that we've all seen on Soho.
Well, one day I'm going to get on here and I'm going to tell you all the interesting things that I have read about or that I have seen about different creatures on different planets and exactly where they live. When you look in the sky, you can see where they come from.
Well,
That will be a wild show. That will be a wild show. And Lon, I appreciate you doing all that homework and doing all that math and everything. And hi, John.
Any mathematician.
And I
any
don't know where
mathematician might check the world, you know.
Okay, I'm ready now for John, but I don't know if John's here, and it seems that John and Gloria. And hi, we got the other two little people, and doggone it, I know you. I love you guys. I can't think of your name. But welcome, welcome, welcome. Gloria, do you know where John is?
He's on there.
No, not you, John.
Oh, no.
Another John.
Am I here? Hello?
Oh.
On there.
Hello? I just turned my camera off because my computer was running really, really slow.
Okay, all right. Well, okay, there we go. With no further ado, I just wanted to make sure you were here, Jnull. No further ado, we got the one and the only, the man with the plan, the man that has nothing and makes something out of it, my buddy and yours, Mr. Jnull0. Good evening, John. How are you tonight?
I'm doing all right. How's everybody else doing?
Well, I want to thank you for taking time out to spend with us tonight. That means a lot to all of us, and we appreciate you sharing your time and your knowledge with us. I got a quick question for you. I want to know, how are them chickens getting along with the big hens
Good.
tonight?
They're doing fine. They still get chased around every once in a while, but for the most part, they're doing fine.
And the big chickens don't hurt them?
No. All they'll do, they'll chase them a little bit and peck at them and just show them who's boss.
Well, I got a few questions for you, and then we're going to go down the line and let everybody talk to you, okay?
Okay.
I would like for you, number one, what would you consider to be the top 5 most important things to survive in any major situation, besides food and water?
Shelter, fire, or some way to keep yourself warm. And for me, it's got to be my family. I need my family and my good close friends right there with me, because I'm a firm believer that we don't do anything by ourselves. We've always got somebody looking after us, whether it's the man upstairs or our friends and family that are right here with us. And I wouldn't want to, if something, you know, a global catastrophe was to occur, I would not want to be on my own by myself. I would want people around me, because it would just be, to me, it wouldn't be worth living if I didn't have my family.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I know exactly what you're saying there. I am by myself, John, so I know what you're saying.
If I can't put a seed in the ground and grow something to eat, then I don't want to be on that planet. You can just go ahead and call me home.
Well, what would you suggest for water purification? How would you go about it, especially if you had to take oil out of the water? How would you go about doing that?
Well, probably me. I've always got some sort of fire going, whether I cook on it or we're using it to heat the house or whatever. And I make my own charcoal, so I always have charcoal around. I would probably crush up some of my charcoal to make a fine powder and run the water through that charcoal, because the charcoal is very absorbent and it's going to absorb a lot of the contaminants in the water. I think it would probably work with oil. It may not get all of the residue out.
Uh-huh.
But if you had the time, if it wasn't you wasn't in immediate danger of dehydration, you had some time to let the water sit, the oil is going to usually float to the top and separate from the pure water. And then you can try to retrieve the water, the clean water from the bottom, put it in a container that has a spigot on the bottom or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then when the oil settles on the top, then bring the water out of the bottom of the container and then run it again through the charcoal and then boil it to purify it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I would deal if I had a oil contamination in my water. I don't know if I'm right, because like I said, I'm by no means an expert. I'm just a dude. And that's what I would try to do if I found myself having to use water that had a lot of oil in it. That would be what I would try to do to get rid of it.
Uh-huh. Well, you haven't been to one of our Hangouts before, but in our Hangouts we discuss a lot of things going on in space, and some of the things in space could contaminate our water really bad at some point. Not saying that it's going to happen, but
right,
there is that chance it could happen, and if it did happen, the water, I believe, would be probably one of the biggest things that people would have to worry about, because I have a feeling it would be full of a lot of just not nasty stuff, but it would probably have some very bad oil in it. And I've often wondered, how could we get the oil out?
I got an answer.
Okay.
If you have anything that's cotton, the cotton will absorb the oil out of the water.
The cotton.
Cotton.
Wow. Okay.
Like cotton T-shirts, cotton pants, any
Cotton balls.
Cotton balls. It will absorb the oil out of the water. It's what they used to use at the park.
Sand and dry grass.
There you go.
Too.
Yeah, well,
Sorry, but
so anything that
That's
can
okay.
be absorbent, that can absorb the
anything
oil
that
from
the oil would cling to, I would think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Wow.
Yeah. And then you would have to distill your water. Yeah, distilling's the only surefire method of, taking the bacteria and killing infection and all that. But if you don't have the access to be able to distill it, filter, filter, filter. Yeah. And literally, if you got sand or sandy soil, that you can use that. And if there is any dry grass or burlap or any kind of dry leaf material, you're going to be able to get the oil to cling on to that.
Well,
So you don't really have to
if you have a comet that's shooting out stuff and throwing it all over
it's going to burn everything out.
the grass is not going to be clean to start with. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I'm thinking more or less like on a way, if we have some water, how to clean what we have that we can get. Besides getting something from outside, something that we need to have inside already with us. John, let me ask you this, hon. When it comes to simple tools, what are the 5 top simple tools we should always have around us, you think, if we had a major event happen?
Great question.
I'm really partial to my axe. I'm really partial to my draw knives. A hammer, a hand saw of some sort, or a couple of different types, and
Your Gerber.
Probably a shovel. So you're gonna always have to. I mean, you're always gonna have to put that garden in. I mean, that's when I look at disaster scenarios or anything like that. I'm always thinking about, well, we got to eat, and you can't hunt because there's so many people in the world versus animals in the world. That's not going to be a consistent source of food. So to me, a consistent source of food is put a seed in the ground and let Mother Nature do its thing and feed you.
There you go. Hey, viewers, thanks for being with us tonight. We appreciate you being here. Okay, I've got one more quick question, and then I'm going to let the panel here start asking you questions, and then I will be back to you myself. I'm wondering, what would you consider to be the 5 top things that we could have around the house to protect ourselves from nuclear fallout radiation?
The top 5 things?
Yeah, the top 5 things. The things you want to make sure that you got around the house.
Well, some dirt to begin with. You're going to have, they say that you need like 2 feet of dirt between you and the potential fallout, the radiation, to make sure that you have a good shield from that. And then, then you just need the basics to sustain yourself for, up to however long you plan on being in there. I mean, if it's a really, really bad thing and you got to stay underground for a year, well.
So what? Excuse me one second, John. So in other words, we would have to already have a place dug out. Is that what you're saying?
Underground shelter.
To go underground? Or if we didn't have a place dug out, if we were just in our house, is there anything that we could do to protect ourselves, any at all?
Lead armor.
Go under your house.
Go under the house.
Yeah.
You want to get as far away from you and that fallen stuff as, as much between you and the fallen radiation as you can. I think concrete, if you have like a good concrete basement, or if there's a good solid concrete building in the town that you live in or around or something like that, then that would be an alternative. But I don't think there's anything that's better than just having a couple of feet of dirt.
Okay.
So, like I say, I don't know, because I don't think of when I'm preparing for life, I'm not thinking about huge nuclear fallout situations. The reason is because honestly, I don't know if I want to live in that world afterwards, because what kind of a world is it going to be? Am I going to be able to live? I don't want to just survive. That's not pleasant. I want to continue to live.
Amen.
I want to continue to live with my family and, be fed and grow our food and raise our animals. And in a big, giant nuclear situation like that, I'm not sure that I would have the ability to continue to live the way that I live. So I'm just not quite sure how to answer that question.
Well, that's fine. You done a wonderful job. I understand completely. It's like, I've often thought about it myself. It's like, if it happens, just take me out to start with, because who would want to sit around and peel away and be in agony?
And watch your kids sit around and peel away, and my wife, and I've worked really, really hard to keep my wife in decent shape and to keep her alive after almost a year of quote unquote doctors telling me she's going to die and she's not going to do this, and here we are, 8 years later, and I'm still after it every day, all day, because it is what it is. Love fixes everything, in my opinion. Love can heal anything.
Yep. There
Absolutely.
You go.
If you got somebody that's right there with you and that loves you, and that's enough. We have that bond as humans, or we can help each other just by loving each other.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. Yes, Gloria.
I just wanted to mention, though, the dream that I shared with everybody several months ago about the underground bunker with the rooms and everything in it, sustaining the water flow. It was at John's property that I had the dream about, back in his hillside. I think I even told him about it.
You did.
Yeah, we did talk about that. We mentioned that we could, if the time comes and we need to, dig out the side of the hill behind my house, and we laid out air vents and water vents and stuff like that, and where they would be. That way we already kind of have a plan, and if we ever have to implement it, we can try to do the best we can as quick as we can. But yeah,
That is so cool. That is so cool. Very, very good. Okay, let's start to the left, and we'll go left to right. Dawn, you want to start off? Do you have a question for Jnull?
Yeah, first off, I absolutely loved your video, The Scary Guns. That was hilarious. And also, speaking of, because I'm not really a gun enthusiast, but I would like to be able to protect myself eventually. And what gun would you suggest, this is terrible, that doesn't have much of a kick, if it at all?
Well, as Gloria and Greg will attest to, one of my favorite guns that is always hanging on my side is my little .22 pistol.
Okay.
It doesn't have a lot of kick. The ammunition's pretty cheap. You know, I call it my critter getter because when I'm running traps and stuff, I don't have to waste a bunch of ammunition if I got something in the trap. It'll do a lot of damage. It's a very underrated ammunition. I mean, you can absolutely ruin somebody's day with a .22 pistol if they mean you some harm. So they're easy to handle too. So.
And they're very small. They're made good for small hands because I got really little hands.
I do too.
So I got to have a small gun.
Yeah, that's the way I am too.
Yeah, same here with me. I got little bitty hands, and it just fits perfectly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just the muscle buildup from all the work.
Well, you know, the way things are, I live in the city, and the way things are, you know, I noticed that they did take down the no guns sign on our building.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh,
Yay.
cool.
Well,
Yes.
I understand what you're saying because even out here in Lawrence County, where I live, in the middle of nowhere, Appalachia, our county sheriff is saying, you know, this is what he said on the news. He says, I'm not saying that the citizens of Lawrence County have to depend on themselves and protect themselves. I'm just saying that the citizens of Lawrence County have to depend on themselves and protect themselves because I can't cover the whole county with a grand total of 10 deputies for 3 shifts and do anybody really any good as far as immediate assistance. So,
And it's the largest county in Ohio.
I live in Franklin. I live in Columbus. And
Yeah.
so far,
And there
you know, with all the insanity going on, it's doing really well. Like, you know, we haven't had any major events or anything like that. It's fairly peaceful here.
well, I believe that the more and more people who are unemployed and underemployed who are beginning to feel desperate with their financial situation are going to turn to predatory actions in order to get what they think they need.
I
Yeah.
agree.
And if they can
Or to
take
provide
advantage of
something for
somebody in the
family.
parking lot, they will.
If that's the case, I wouldn't. You know.
Thank you very much. And I will keep watching.
Another-
Trust me.
Well, thank
And
you.
another thing too, here in our area, our response time at a minimum for fire, police, ambulance, or whatever is at least 45 minutes at the minimum. There are a lot of stuff can happen in 45 minutes. You know, you pretty much have to have a way of defending yourself out here where we live. Ain't that right, John?
Yes, that's right. I can't depend on anybody other than myself. We're out here where I live, it's very rural, you know, and no matter what is going on throughout the course of the day, it does not change the basic human fact that I have 4 children, a handicapped wife, who, 1, look to me to eat every day, and 2, look to me to make sure that they are safe and secure. And the way that I can ensure that my family is safe and secure is to own, maintain, and learn how to use my firearms.
Absolutely.
Because that's a great equalizer. The firearm is a great equalizer. If 20 dudes, you know, show up out of there, you know, if a gang of people show up my front yard, well, my ability to defend myself is an equalizer in that situation. So,
Okay,
whether, you know, because,
marauders coming down your street with their pitchforks and other things in
happen.
hand, it could happen.
I mean, it very well, that's why I make a really, excuse me, big effort to be really friendly with my neighbors and to be a good neighbor and to know them and to maintain good relationships with them because we're, you know, the way that the world is, I mean, there's so many quote-unquote pots on the stove boiling. Something is bound to boil over, whether it be another war, whether it be economic, whether something is, I can just feel it in my guts, y'all. I don't know how to explain it, but something is not right. So if something bad comes down the pike, then we have our little, hillbilly community out here on the creek where I live. There's 4 houses around us, and I know each and everybody, and we know who needs what, who can produce what. I'll have the chickens, and I'm soon going to, God willing, I'll be able to get my fence and everything done, and get some goats for dairy and meat and stuff like that. And we can, as our little community, take care of ourselves, kind of like they did about 150 years ago. And,
right.
That's kind of where we are. We know where we can go and make it. And even Gloria and Greg know that if bad things happen, well, they're probably going to be living out here with me.
Yeah.
Bless you.
Already planning on the shelter.
Yeah. We've talked about where we would put extra shelters, what we would do, how we would keep everybody fed, where we're going to put larger gardens, more animals, because all that stuff takes a lot of work, and that would be way too much work for one person to do. So what you do, you start a community where everybody can help and everybody reaps the benefits. And it's that whole thing, love each other and let nature take its course.
Yeah, and we already talked, too, about putting in a large root cellar there on his property back in the hillside, and then even things that we gather and store and, have sealed up in Mylar and all that can be stored out there, the excess or what you might call your long-term prepping food. That way, if something does happen, there's already supplies there to at least start feeding people.
Well, me and Greg this fall are going to build a greenhouse so that both of our families can start our garden earlier in a greenhouse. And we're going to work together. We're going to build a little greenhouse, nothing big and fancy, because we are simple country folk. I mean, I'm about as country as a turnip green. So,
and we're about poor as dirt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If somebody was getting, they'd be like, hey, this is free. Okay, can you give me $1? Because I think I'm in debt now to the bank.
Our neighbors are all lifers. We've been where we are just over 23 years, and a lot of our neighbors have been where they are longer than that even, and they're really stable, good neighbors.
Yeah. It's good to have good neighbors and have good relationships with your neighbors, because they watch your back, and you never know which direction something's going to come from. It might not come from the road. It may come off the hill.
That's
or
exactly
from the
right.
air, or wherever.
Yep.
So every direction has to be watched.
Okay, John, do you have a question for John?
Can't hear you, John Ben.
I see your lips moving.
Oh, not right now. I was laughing for a moment because there are so many Johns.
Okay, all right. Okay. Mary, do you have a question for John?
Yes, I do. So I've heard a lot about the benefits of composting. Essentially, taking like, say you go to a tree company who go and do tree removal services, getting their I guess whatever they can't use with their wood chips and things like that, and letting it sit. Let them dump it on your property and letting it sit for a year or two, and using that as a basically letting it turn to soil and gardening with.
Yes.
Do you agree with that? And how reasonable is it for people who are not in a very good financial, people who are not, millionaires, let's put it that way?
I do agree with that 100%. I have one of those very types of gardens that you just talked about, to where a couple of years ago it was just a pile of wood chips that we smoothed out and let it compost down a little bit, and we planted right into it, and we grew some pretty good stuff last year. And it's not for me, because I'm always trying. I got a large hill, and I have a small area that I can actually garden. The rest of it is too steep to really do anything with. I built some terrace boxes and whatnot, but for me, it's not about quantity of garden; it's quality of garden. And those wood chips, when they break down, they grow big, beautiful, productive plants. And it's very, very good soil. and you can get away with about half the garden space. I mean, I can almost make enough food for my entire family for the entire year from our garden once we get through canning and storing it, just from the little area that I have. So yes, I do agree with it. And a lot of times, if you'll see those guys out on the road, say you're driving home from work one day, or you're driving back from the store one day, and you see one of those tree crews right there in your neighborhood, you can stop and say, hey, you know, if nobody has already spoken for that, you know, and you need a place to dump it, I'll be more than happy to take it. And a lot of times they will dump it, you know, if you need it, because they cannot return back to their truck depot with that thing loaded. They got to have it cleaned out, and they just want to get rid of it. You know, they go through 4 or 5 of them a day, so it's not a big deal to them. However, to us, we would love to have a load of free wood chips.
Yeah, and it costs them to dump it too. They'd much rather get rid of it for free.
That was my next question: is are they going to charge me to say, hey, come dump this on my property?
Nope.
Okay, good, because I want to start doing that. I've got enough. I've got enough land to. I want to start a vegetable garden, but I know it's going to be a year process. Let the stuff compost and turn into good soil. But I wanted to hear your perspective on that, because we're trying to learn how to be as self-sufficient and grow food as cheaply and as economically as we can get started now before things happen.
Well, that last year I had I think it was the first part of March of last year, I had a load dumped on part of my property over there, and all I did was I went out and I kind of smoothed it out to where it was flat instead of a big pile. And this year I went over there and I raked it out, smoothed it out, pulled what little weeds there was in it, made a little trench, and planted my seeds right into it. It was in 1 year it was already ready to be planted, and I planted some strawberries and I planted some peas in there. And and another thing is I probably won't have to put 1 drop of water on that entire garden, simply because those wood chips and that compost holds the water so well that you don't have to turn your hose on, or you don't have to put any extra water onto them. It'll hold enough for the plant itself, because the plants want to live. And I told this to another friend of mine. He was saying, gardening is so hard and it takes so much talent. I'm like, no, it doesn't. Plants are life, and they want to live, and it's not no different than any other life. You give it a little bit of love, give it a little bit of tender love and care, a drink of water every once in a while, and that plant I don't see suicidal tomato plants anywhere ever. You know, so they're not just going to die for no apparent reason. And if you look at the plant, it will tell you what it needs. If it looks like it needs a drink, then give it a drink. If it looks dry, if it looks like it's got too much, then don't give it anymore. You can just, you know, listen to the plant.
And if if it's bent over, it'll ask you to tie it up.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just kind of go with, I do the best that I can to, you know, I'm a religious man, and I do the best that I can to go with what he gives us.
Right.
We know that there are 4 seasons. We know that you plant in the spring and you harvest in the fall, and we know that he got our back, and that the Mother Earth is going to provide the nutrients and the goodness. So I put my seed in the ground, and I say, thank you, Lord, for the seed, and hopefully in 3 months we're eating whatever this is that's going.
Yeah, the Lord will provide, but he don't put the, you know, even for the birds, he don't throw the worm in the nest. You got to get out and get the worm.
Yeah,
he will provide.
I got this idea from, I watched a free video movie you can go online. It's called Back to Eden.
Yep, that's the same one I saw.
That was just an incredible thing. So whether or not you are of faith, which I am very much so, for all of you who are trying to prep, I think it's a fantastic idea, and I wanted to hear John's idea and perspective on it. Thank you. Good.
Give it a push.
Well, I would like to say, John, I've been watching you garden, and Mr. Moving On 4, I enjoyed your video the other day also, when you were going around showing all the little plants and things, and it just reminds me of when I was growing up and a kid, and we did the very same. It was just like the old days growing up for me, seeing everything like that. Where I'm at right now, I can't do that, and not in the way that you guys do it. But it's like,
we started a trend.
I appreciate your videos so much. You help so many people, and you help myself as well. And John, I love the video a long time ago you made. See, you didn't know I watched you for so long, but I'm a regular watcher. When you were out cutting firewood and you had to have a way to get it down that hill and you made that sled, you beat that piece of metal into a sled and it held your wood perfect. I thought that was such a smart thing to do. I just think you're such a smart guy. And I love your clocks. When you whittle out that wood and make those clocks, are just beautiful, man. And then I saw you just the other day. You took I think it was a belt. I could have been wrong. It was a piece of some kind of stripping of some sort, and you started your tiller with it.
Yeah, it was my old belt.
That was cool.
So it's like...
Well, I remember I took that, you know, because it's an old tiller, but it's got the newer mechanics to it with that pull string, and I just couldn't get my pull string right, and I'm running out of time to get the garden in. I was all frustrated, so I took the pull string cover back off of it, and I was looking at it, and I was like, you know what, that kind of looks like Grandpa's old tiller that he used a leather strap to pull the crank and start it up with. You know, you see the old timers cranking their cranks and pulling their straps, and I said, well, you know what, I'm going to turn the camera on, and we'll just see if we can take something that's fairly new and make it work like the old timers you would. And I wrapped my belt around it, and I gave it a pull, and like I it started up, and I was like, awesome. There you go.
You did a fantastic job, John, and your videos are much appreciated by all of us. Please never stop making them. And you, along with all the rest of the people who are here at the Hangout and all of my subs and all of our friends here, we all love you, and you're always in our thoughts and prayers. So keep up the good work, my friend. You're a wonderful guy, and I thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
I got a question for Jnull.
She's laughing.
Go for it, Long.
I wondered if you'd be happier with real peanuts in your packages than the styrofoam one.
Yes.
Yes. Very much.
Okay.
Also, got any use for packing peanuts yet?
Yeah.
No, and actually, I told DeFrog Code that the next time he sends me a package of coffee with a bunch of peanuts in it, I'm going to start saving them, and then I'll just melt them down and make a baseball bat to beat him with next time I see him.
Well, if they're the ones that are made out of the corn cellulose, they actually can be put in your compost and they'll disintegrate.
I don't think it'd be turned into like a fuel
they're pretty
oil.
nasty if they're the old styrofoam ones.
Yeah.
The green ones melt.
Maybe some real peanuts in a 6-pack.
Yeah, don't be making a peanut butter video.
There you go. Here's what you do with packet peanuts. Make styrofoam peanut butter.
Well, do any of you guys have any more questions you want to ask John tonight? We got a little special thing we got to do before we get out of here. So all you viewers, you stay with us. We got a surprise ending. Yes, Gloria.
Just one thing, if John has any closing information that he could give people, even for any type of emergency or anything, even if they're in a city, you know, just a tip of, you know, a few things to have on hand to make it through the worst of the situation in a lockdown situation.
Well, I mean, it's just the basics. You know, you got to have food, you got to have water, you got to have warmth, and again, you got to have some sort of love, whether it be from your family, whether it be from really close friends. Human beings need that in order to thrive and not just survive.
Right.
And you know, I always, the way I look at it is people who take time to prepare themselves for something that happens, then they really don't experience the catastrophe. They experience inconveniences of not, you know, things being completely normal, but they don't have the full effect of the whole catastrophe because they're not hungry, they're not cold, they're not dehydrating and dying a slow death.
Right.
The people who are really going to experience the catastrophe are the ones who, you know, didn't prepare, chose not to take care of themselves and their family, and because, you know, if you prepare and you are living self-sufficiently, then you take the power away from the quote-unquote authorities, and you have your own power. you are the one who's in control of yourself rather than, being controlled, whether it be, with the food that you're buying, paying more for food at the grocery store that's much less healthy. You put the power of your life and your life well-being into your hands rather than, the quote-unquote authorities or the whoever else. So I just, just the basic commonsensical things, water, food, warmth, and love.
Yeah, not just sit out on your porch or curb and wait for somebody to come by and take care of you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're definitely not going to see any FEMA trucks out here in the middle of nowhere. Red Cross.
Really? Because when it comes right down to it, you're going to be on your own, and everybody else is going to be looking for you.
Exactly. That one day back in the wintertime, when we lost our power in the winter, and we didn't even realize that we had lost our power for about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
That was a really, really, really cool feeling to know, you know what? Yeah. We're warm, we're fed, we're cooking dinner on the fire, and we didn't realize the power was out. So, you know what? We're going to be all right.
Hey, John, I want to ask you a quick question. Would it be okay with you if any of our viewers at any time, if they've got a project going on and they're familiar with you, if they wrote you a letter through YouTube or something, if you could maybe give them a suggestion on how to do a certain project, would you be glad to answer that for them?
Yeah, sure. I would. I try to keep. I have a hard time keeping up with comments, but I usually never ever don't respond to a personal message or a private message, whatever the PM is called. Yeah, feel free to contact me and say whatever. I believe in the First Amendment as well as all the rest of them.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. All right.
You may have said this to your list. I might add the mustard seed amount of faith would be a good thing to have with you.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. I never really mentioned that because I know it sounds bad, but I just kind of assumed.
Okay, folks. Well, I tell you what, John, don't go anywhere, but thank you so much for being with us tonight, and I hope sometime you can come back and be with us, okay?
Sounds good. Thank you.
No one go
Thank
anywhere. And Gloria, I want you to not say a word for a few moments, if that's okay. And everybody else, and all of you 280,000 viewers, we are giving Gloria a surprise birthday party. No, I did not. I did not wish you a happy birthday on your birthday, but I knew you was your birthday. But I wanted to have a little... Look, they got the real candle going over here. Well, I had to take the dummy over here, okay? But I want...
You guys
I'm
are
gonna make one at a time. Some of you hadn't been regulars forever, but... Oh, look! Mary put her party hat on. All right, we're in the spirit now. Dawn, what are your words to Gloria? What do you have to say for Gloria?
Well, I didn't say happy birthday. I avoided you like the plague because I wanted to say it here. But you are a very special person, and you have a lot of courage and a lot of strength that a lot of people don't have, and that's inspiring to a lot of people. It really is. So, and you're nice. And you never yell at me, so I'm happy about that. I love you. You know
so that's why you weren't talking to me. You were going to give
that
it
is
away.
why. I was just like, oh no, because I will say it. I would say it.
Okay, Jnull, what would you like to say to Gloria?
I don't know. I consider her family now. They come to my house and they come in and out as they please. She's my sister, he's my brother, and I love them to death, and they know it, and I know it, and I don't know what else to say other than that.
Happy birthday, huh?
Happy birthday, yeah.
Okay, John Ben, would you like to say a few words to Gloria?
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Okay, Lon and Joyce.
Gloria, you're a precious gift To us, you're a blessing, and you have provided us with so much wonderful interaction and helped us to grow. The inspiration that you bring is awesome. I love the way you do research and share it. I mean, it's just, you're a blessing, that's all. I love you.
I love you too. Thanks, guys. You're my inspiration too.
Happy birthday, Gloria. What she said.
Mary, do you have a few words for Gloria?
Well, Gloria, I haven't had the privilege to know you as well as everybody else here does, but I have really enjoyed the things that you shared, and I can really tell you've got a wonderful, sweet spirit, and you deserve the best birthday you could possibly have, and I hope to enjoy getting to know you better, so happy birthday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All the thanks though really should go to Jay, because she's a master at bringing good spirits together, and because of her, I have gained so much interaction with some wonderful people. So Jay, it's all on you, girl.
Well, nah, not really. Let me say what I want to say. It's your birthday. So, Gloria, you are a wonderful, kind-hearted, understanding, caring person.
She's crying, guys.
And to top that off, you're smart, too. I love you. I consider you a big sister. I know we're miles and miles apart, but I have no family anymore. And you are one of my big sisters that I care deeply about. So if everybody will help me do this, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gloria. Happy birthday to you. We love you, Gloria.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that's ending up the
Remember to be
J7.
absent next year.
That's going to end up the J7409 Hangout tonight. John, once again, thank you so much for being with us tonight, hon. We appreciate it. And for Gloria and Dawn and Mr. Moving On 04, John Ben, Lon and Joyce and Mary, and also Jnull, you're welcome back anytime, okay? Don't wait for a special invite. Jump in anytime you want to. Folks,
Okay.
just remember what I always say. Be kind to each other. Smile at somebody. Do something nice for somebody if it's just opening the door. Be thankful for what you've got. Be safe. Be blessed. Keep your eyes on the sky. And know I love you all. Everybody, have a wonderful evening, and thank you all. We'll see you next week, right here at the J7409 Hangout. Bye-bye, everybody. Love all you guys.
Good night.
Bye. Good night.
Bye,
Good night, everyone.